I've just received the new Motorised system kit from Konova. I thought what would be useful today was to do a quick video on it. Now, I've been using Konova's existing motor kit for about a year, 18 months now, and I use it a lot in my time-lapse work. In fact, if you have a look at this video here, you'll see this in operation and how I've been using it for time-lapse. It's a really great kit and I've never really had any issues with it. Really love using it. But Konova have released a new version of this, which they claim is more slim, more powerful, and a new design. So what I thought would be useful is to have a quick comparison between the old and new and have a look at the new one working. So just before I begin, I'm not affiliated with Konova. They don't pay me for these. I use their kit because I genuinely think it is great gear. It has a really good balance between very high quality and relatively affordable cost. The kit that they make, like I say, I've never had any problems with it. It's made to a very high standard, which I really appreciate, but it's not mega expensive. So that's the reason that I use their kit. So without further ado, let's get in, have a look at this new motorised kit system. So the box here, which contains the motor and the new drive belt, and as you'll see, that the new motor and belt are fairly compact. Now the other part to this system is the drivetrain here, which you'll see is attached to the train system on the slider, the dolly. And I've already taken the time to affix this. It attaches with 4 hex bolts and it just attaches to the existing plate that you already have on the Konova slider. Now, the first thing I was kind of worried about was, am I going to have to take this off and on every time I want to attach it? But I've checked, and the bag that the Konova slider comes in and the one that I use to carry it around, which is a nice padded bag that comes with it, this fits in and it will zip up, no problem. So I just leave mine now attached to the train, no need to take it off. There's a 3/8 inch mounting bolt on top, so for putting quick release plates, fluid heads, ball heads, whatever, it's really not a problem. So here is the actual unit, and what it does, the difference with this one is that it actually mounts to the dolly train with the belt, which I'll show in just a second, rather than the old one, and here's the old motor, which you had various mounting attachments and you would mount it to one end of the slider. Now the kind of one good thing about it was that actually when I'm doing time-lapse shots, if I had this at the wrong end, or even sliding shots, it can stick out a little bit. So if the camera is moving towards it, and you can pick it up in shot occasionally. So taking that off the end, it's only a small thing, but it just you know, gives you a little bit more flexibility with your camera position. So that was the old motor system. The old belt system, once again, was fairly, was a bit larger. I mean, it wasn't a huge problem, but what they've done is that they've slimmed this down quite considerably. It's a lot lighter and a lot smaller, so it'll fit in a smaller space inside your bag. And often when I'm doing time-lapse, I'm going to remote locations, I'm carrying all the kit myself, so anything that saves on weight and space is always kind of a big thumbs up in my book. So that's kind of nice to see. So out with the old belt system, in with the new one, and if I just do a quick demonstration here of how it all goes together, is that we just take the belt and we loop it now round the motor system, and then all we're going to do is just attach that to the train. And they've got, once again, this is an example of kind of the good quality. They've got nice little lug holes and then a nice machined aluminium screw, which just nicely tightens up and you get a nice solid fit. Just all feels good. And then what you're going to do is then pop the two ends of the belt onto the ends of the slider. Just loosen that up for a second. Like so. Let's just have a look. And there we go. So that is the new motorised system set up. Nice and neat, nice and compact, really simple and easy to do. Yeah, so what we'll do now is we will connect it up, and the new system uses the existing smart controller from Konova as well. So if you already have the older system and a smart controller, and you're thinking about investing in the new motor, you don't need to buy a new controller as well, which is great. So what I'll do now is I will connect this up, and then we'll just see the new motorised system in operation. The slider is now all set up, and we've connected it to the motion controller. There's still quite a few wires, but you know, we're using battery pack here. Once again, this works with the this motor, and so does the base plate or the connector interface, which you connect the controller, the battery, and then the cables that power the motor to as well. So really the only new addition is the motor and the belt. So we're all set up, and we go ahead and let's just execute. There we go, we can see the unit in motion. I've got it on an auto move, so it should operate for about 10 seconds and then start going the other way. Now what's quite good with this motor is that it's got limit switches built in. I'll just go ahead and stop this a second. It's not something that I really ever used because I'm watching my slider the whole time, or I'm knowing the distance it's going to travel. But if you're setting it up, especially for a very long move, time lapse, and you don't want it to get to the end and just be shunting against the end, it will sort of damage the motor over time. There were limit switches, which once again were a bit of a fiddly option, which is probably one of the reasons why I never used them. You had to attach them, they were a physical gate, you had to put one either end, it was another set of wires. Now what they've done is they've built in limit switches to the actual unit. So what happens is, if I just start one off and I'll show you. So there is a limit switch, and if I put my finger there, as it would the end, it just stops the unit. So quite a handy little addition. They've built that in, and that's just an extra cable which is linked into the base unit. In terms of the noise the unit makes, there's one thing that I was quite interested in, especially for live motion filming. If you're doing interviews, things like that, where you might have a slider in the background and you're wondering that's going to be picked up on mics. I wouldn't say it's any different than the existing unit. It's not massively loud. Let me just operate it. I'm wearing a lapel mic at the moment, so you'll be able to see if you can hear that. That's probably only a foot away from my lapel. It's not hugely noisy, but it's not any quieter, I would say, than the existing one. So for me, just in summary, the new Konova motorised system is a really great addition to their already, you know, very solid lineup. It picks up on a few of the minor flaws of the last system. In my honest opinion, I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth upgrading if you already have that one. But if you're looking to purchase a new motorised system, I think it's absolutely, you know, fantastic unit. The Konova system, what they do is that their products work across their range really well. So the K3 slider, and I've had this for several years now, used it, you know, hundreds of times. It's great that I can now purchase a motorised kit and slap it on my slider, which I've had for ages. You know, I'm not having to purchase a whole new system. So from that point of view, you know, fantastic bit of kit. For me, the advantages over the older motor are that it's just that bit smaller and that little bit more compact, which just means, you know, maybe I've got room for an extra lens or another extra bit of kit, and that can make the difference. So for me, it's a really essential kind of piece of kit. Works well with the existing Konova system and Konova equipment that I have. So great thumbs up from me. So I hope this has been useful. Links to all the products you can find in the video description, and thanks very much for watching.